Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're at the Doe network and we're going through the unidentified persons and missing persons, and I want to read this to you again. I read it to you at the opening for things like this. The material covered in this section may be disturbing to some viewers, and you should know that if you're looking at missing persons things, that it could be very upsetting. And the Doe network features sketches, reconstructions, and or public releasable images of unidentified persons and or their personal items. So somebody might be dead and they might have pictures of that. So in some cases, links to post-mortems are provided. So it'll say, you can go to it here or here, but I wouldn't recommend this for children. But all reconstructions are the artist's interpretation of what the person may have looked like. Some features are the artist's estimations to complete the image and should not be used as significant marker for identification. Because you look at the pictures and you think, well, they must have known what they look like, and you think, well, let's look for somebody that looks like this, and that's what I tend to do. But you're supposed to go by their facial shape and other information, a lot more information than just that, and they need donations. The Doe Network, it's welcoming donations. It helps to support the long overdue update and upgrade that they need, because some of their links they need upgraded. The Doe Network is a 100% volunteer organization devoted to assisting investigating agencies and bringing closure to national and international cold cases concerning missing and unidentified persons. It is our mission to give the nameless back their names and return the missing to their families. We hope to accomplish this mission in 3 ways: by providing exposure to these cases, by providing credible potential matches between missing and unidentified persons to investigating agencies, and you can read more, I'm not reading it all, but by striving to get much needed and deserved media exposure to these cases. And it says we receive and accept tips regarding cases featured on our site. All relevant information will be forwarded to the proper investigating agencies. While Doe Network values your privacy, we will respond to court orders and or requests made by investigating agencies in a timely manner. And it says we are not private detectives, but so if you want to donate, that would be a great way to help out. Sometimes I feel like if I'm doing YouTube videos on a missing persons, maybe I should be looking to see if I can't figure out who did what, and I probably would be better off just donating money to help them out instead of doing it that. But this one, you can go to the missing persons and you can do it, and you can look through them to see who's missing by date, by males, by females. You can do it by some alphabetized. If you want to see if they're alphabetized, you can do it. Missing persons geographical, it'll do it by state. You can click on the United States and then you'll see them by states in alphabetical order, like Alabama first. Or you can do it chronological, which is by year, or you can do it by alphabetical. So, and I saw that there was a child missing, or an unidentified male, February 25th of 1957. So you can see how upsetting this is, because they don't know who he is. And the estimated time of death was days prior. It was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and he was killed by a blunt force trauma. Now, who would do that to a child? And the child was only 3 to 6 years old. And here's the artist's rendition of what they thought he might look like. So you can see the way the face is shaped. But this is just so upsetting. And he weighed about 30 pounds. He was 3 foot 3 inches, light brown to blonde trimmed in an odd bowl-shaped haircut. His eyes were blue. Sometimes they don't have the eye color. A pale complexion, 7 scars, 3 of which could have resulted from surgical procedures. 2 of the possible surgical scars were on the chest and the groin. They had healed quite well, leaving only a hairline trace. The 3rd was on his left ankle, which looked like a cut down incision made to expose a vein so that a needle may be inserted to give an infusion or transfusion. There was a 1.5-inch scar on the left side of the chest and a round irregular scar on the left elbow. On his chin was an L-shaped scar a quarter-inch long in each direction. There was no vaccination scar. He had been circumcised. Several small moles on his body, including 3 on the left side of his face, a tiny one below his right ear, 3 small ones on his chest, and a large one 2 inches above his right wrist. Dentals available, full set of baby teeth, slightly buck teeth, fingerprints available, DNA available, and it lists the clothing. It says a tan child scarf and boy's yellow flannel shirt was also recovered at the scene. Investigators determined that the size 4 shirt matched the child's size at the time of his homicide. A child's pair of black shoes were also located. However, they did not fit the unidentified boy. That's interesting. An Ivy League style cap made of blue corduroy with a leather strap and buckle across the back was also found. It was determined that the cap was made in a South Philadelphia shop. The store owner recalled that a man between the ages of 26 and 30 made the purchase. He did not speak with an accent. The purchaser was never identified. Unknown jewelry, additional personal items, a cardboard box from JC Penney for a white bassinet with the words "Furniture Fragile. Do not open with a knife." Inexpensive, well-worn flannel with a faded design of diamonds and blocks in green. Rust-colored red and brown and white. An additional piece of the blanket was found inside the box, smeared with automotive grease. So, JC Penney. Anyway, a traveler discovered the child's unclothed body at a garbage-filled locale on I don't know how to say that word, Susquehanna Road in Philadelphia. He had been wrapped in a blanket and placed inside a cardboard box. His body had been beaten. His nails had recently been trimmed. The palm of his right hand and the soles of his feet were rough and wrinkled, indicating that the limbs had been submerged in water prior to or shortly after his death. Strands of his hair were present on his body, leading authorities to believe that his hair had been cut shortly before or following his homicide, maybe to help keep people from knowing who did it. And that's another thing. I wonder if they cut people's hair after they kill them to try to make it harder for people to identify them. This has led some to speculate he was raised as a girl prior to his murder. The blanket he was wrapped in was a large piece of an inexpensive, well-worn flannel with faded design of diamonds and blocks of green, rust-colored red and brown and white. An additional piece of the blanket was found inside the box, smeared with automotive grease. The third piece of the blanket remains missing. The box which contained the child's body was from JC Penney, located in an Upper Darby, Pennsylvania. It was marked with "Furniture Fragile, do not open with a knife," and had originally contained a white bassinet. Records were unable to pinpoint the purchaser of the item. The coroner's investigation was unable to pinpoint any previous broken bones or inflicted trauma. A long strand of brown hair, not the child's, was removed from the scene. In addition, a man's handkerchief with the initial G was located near the box. Short strands of hair were present on the material and were tested to determine if the hair came from the unidentified boy. The results of the tests are unknown. This case has been reopened and closed many times in over 40 years. The boy's remains were exhumed in the late 90s for DNA testing. He was re-entered into a tomb marked America's Unknown Child in Ivy Hill Cemetery in Philadelphia. The boy is referred to as America's Unknown Child, the Fox Chase boy, or the boy in the box. And there's the information, other information with like links you can click on, or the Philadelphia police and stuff like that. But it's just so sad. It's just so sad. So who knows what his hair looked like before they cut it. And it's possible that they cut his hair because you see a picture of him, and if your child has a certain haircut or longer hair, you may not recognize him if they discover the body. So I don't know, it's just so sad. So things like that just tear you up. And then this child, who does look like he could be him, he went missing in 1955 in New York, and New York's really close to there, and you can see the facial structure. It does look like it could be him. But I think other people have thought that as well because, because it's in New York, but I guess they're not the same person, but I think other people have said, hey, I think that's him. And this one was 2 years old in 1955 when he went missing, and this one was 3 to 6 years old in 57. And and then you read about the other child when you're looking through it to see he has a fair complexion, he has a small scar under his chin, a mole-like birthmark on the back of his right calf, a healed fracture on his left arm. He had been under treatment for kidney growth at the time he went missing, so then you would expect him to have scars, and they have his footprints available, so then you would think, oh, that's probably him. And so then it mentions the clothing and things like that, but he was last seen in East Meadow, New York on October 31st, 1955. His mother left the family home to go to the Fair Food Market, located a block and a half away. She brought along her 2 children, Stephen and Pamela. The mother left the 2 children out in the front of the store at about 2:45 p.m. while she did her shopping, which she and other mothers had done several times before. There were 3 to 4 other carriages with babies left outside the store at the time. Pamela was strapped in a baby carriage while Stephen was standing beside the carriage holding a bag of jelly beans. Their mother told Stephen to be good and that she would be right back before heading into the store. When she came back 10 minutes later after buying a loaf of bread, Stephen, Pamela, and the carriage were gone. She found the Pamela and the carriage they were recovered unharmed behind the store. It was apparent that Stephen could not have pushed the carriage there himself since he would have had to buck traffic and go over rough ground. Despite a massive search involving more than 1,000 people, Stephen has not been seen nor heard from since. Damman's mother described Stephen as not one to wonder and as kind of a mama's boy. One witness claimed to have seen 6 people pick up the boy from in front of the supermarket. The family eventually moved from Long Island to the Midwest. Their parents have since divorced and their father remarried. So, I mean, that's just horrific. Other people are leaving their child outside the grocery store, and she's in there for 10 minutes. And I guess it was, back then it was a lot safer, and you wouldn't think something like that would happen. He had blonde strawberry hair and blue eyes. And this child had blue eyes and blonde hair too, so you would think that maybe it was him, but So, what do you think? And then you go through here and you look at the missing males, and you'll see that the child, he was 3 to 6 years old, so he had to have been born between, 1951 or after, right? So then you go to the 1950s, and you're thinking, well, if he was born by 1951, you're going to look and see if there are any missing children that were reported, and hopefully they were all reported, and you see this child and this child that are very young. But, I don't know, did somebody and that one's too old because that's 1958 and the child was found in 1957. So you wonder if somebody didn't report their child missing. So I don't know. And then there's this one that was Frederick Andrew Holmes, and I don't know if anybody's checked to see if it was him. But he went missing in 1955 in New York, which is also very close to there. And he also had blonde hair and blue eyes. And he had curly hair, so if they cut his hair, I don't know, maybe they wouldn't be able to see his curly hair. So he was 22 months old, and he went missing as well. And so there's his clothes. And it said he was last seen by his mother walking down the driveway of his home at approximately 9 a.m. Some reports state 9:30 in Grahamsville, New York on May 25, 1955. There are also reports that Freddie last spoke to the family landlord in a shed on the property before going missing. In spite of a massive search, approximately 1,000 people, including police, firemen, and volunteers, a bloodhound, and a helicopter, no sign of the boy has ever been found. So, and he was 2 foot 6 inches. at 22 months old. And he was missing since 1955. He was born in 53, so in 57, he would have been about 4 years old. So I don't know if it could have been him or not. I don't know if anybody's ever checked. You see the pictures of the face. And so I don't know. What do you think? Do you think somebody, maybe the child that was found was one of these two children, or do you think maybe it was somebody that never even got reported missing? But why wouldn't they report somebody as missing? I don't, was it somebody in foster care or something? You don't know. But, what do you think? So that's just, sometimes I just feel like I wish I could solve these cases, and I wish I could, you know, find out who these missing people were, who these unidentified people are, and what happened to the missing people, so that people, would know what happened to them. And so, but if you want to donate money to the Doe Network, that might help them. And like I said, it's very upsetting, just even seeing this. It's very upsetting to see that these people are unidentified and nobody knows who they are. It's also very upsetting when you look and you see that people went missing. Nobody knows what happened to the people that went missing, and why would somebody do this, and this was a child. So, hours from now you might be sitting there eating dinner, and you might feel it, you might have like a bit of a PTSD kind of thing, just thinking about it in your mind of, how sad this was, that this happened to these children and these people. Um, anyway, I thank you for tuning into my channel, and please feel free to leave comments, and try to have a great day. Bye-bye.